Well, that's good. Well, so okay. So let's jump into our second topic. What do you think? Should we transition?
I
Or,
think that we can transition.
or tell me. Maybe there's some other stuff you wanted to say
I
about reparations. I mean, there's a lot to say about reparations.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look at this video during editing, and I'm gonna be like, okay, angry black woman, angry black woman, angry black woman. Uh,
First of all, I don't think that's true. But second of all, there's a lot for Black folks to be angry about, right? I mean, the check has never come. The discrimination still's here, and the wealth gap still exists. And from then Mitch McConnell gets on TV and says everybody involved in slavery is dead. The
right,
issue is dead.
right.
Move on. And
Because but the frame is slavery,
right,
and this
right,
is this is why it's so easy to say that, because slavery is so
right.
long ago. But like, my grandmother died when she was 69 years old. I don't know how old, but I was grown. I was very, very grown. And when my grandmother had my mother, she was walking down the street holding my mother, and a white guy walked up to her and threw piss in her face. You
Wow.
cannot tell me
Wow.
these are people that I love, people that I grew up with, people who raised me, who experienced these types of things. So you cannot just be like, everybody is dead. No, no, no. Everybody is not dead
Mhm.
um who have committed atrocities against black folks. Like,
Mhm.
hello, Martin
Mhm.
Luther King, 1968.
Yep.
Like, I mean, come, it's jokes. So anyone that, anybody that is saying stuff like that, I just immediately, I can't converse with you, because
Right.
you're not living here on planet Earth. You're not even being serious about the conversation. So why even waste my time? You know.
Right. Right.
Um, but I wanted, well, one more thing.
Yeah.
So Sheila Jackson Lee, who is
Mm.
member of Congress, she is the one who introduced the HR 40
Mm.
uh, bill. They had a virtual hearing, I believe it was a couple of days ago,
Mm.
and Herschel Walker, the former NFL player,
Mm.
was hold on, let me do that again. Herschel Walker, Donald Trump's friend,
Uh,
um, um, he he said that reparations teach separation,
uh,
and that slavery ended over 130 years ago. And see, when you can pull black people like that out of the woodwork, it just make us all look bad. It's just like,
yeah.
well, somebody come get their uncle. Like, what is going on with this guy? It's sad. It made me sad because, again, um, yes, we're not talking about slavery, bro. Because here's the thing: I'm sure he's experienced it before. I'm sure
Right.
he's experienced racism before. But it's like you get into this space. I can't with black people like that. Anyway, like, but I just
No,
want to say that because it
well,
drove me
and
crazy.
I some folks may have watched One Night in Miami, and Jim Brown is one of the guys that's
Hmm.
Jim Brown was sitting next to Kanye when Kanye was losing his mind in the Oval Office and talking to Trump as though, you're my long lost father and I could play catch with you. You know, there's always going to be these
Wait,
folks.
hold on, stop, wait. You
All
can go
right,
back, but let me just say this about. Do you see how far down Jim Brown is?
yeah.
What's like? What the? What happened to this guy? Like, what happened? Like, I'm so confused. Okay, but go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I don't know what happened to Jim. It's just a tragedy. People lose their mind or people just sell out. Sometimes, look, what's his name? Became a super Reaganite. Eldridge Cleaver, right?
Yeah,
Isn't Eldridge Cleaver who was Black Panther,
right.
right?
It's
Doing his thing.
crazy to me.
and then he became like a super Reagan supporter, which is just and also Sammy Davis Jr. was like a Nixon. Was he a Nixon supporter? Like there's that picture of him hugging Nixon. I don't know. I don't want to say something I don't know
Yeah,
about.
I don't know, but like seriously, which anyway, I
I
can't. I
don't know.
don't make me go there.
But I think your point is really, really important, especially in modern conversations about this. Yes, we're talking about 1865 because that debt was never paid.
Right.
And Reconstruction was 10 years long, right? It
Right.
was 10 years. And you had a KKK dude as the president, right? Andrew Johnson
Yeah.
was the vice president of Lincoln. And he was like an openly slave supporting guy. And so you have 10 years of like Black progress in the South. Uh, and I also want folks to remember slavery ended in New York State in 1827.
Right.
Right. So we're not talking about North versus South and
Right.
like Harvard. You might know some of these schools: Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown.
Yeah.
Go through all the Ivy
Yeah.
Leagues. Those schools were going to go out of business, and then they were like, "Oh, damn, let's start buying Black people." Then they got rich off of owning Black people, and now they became these star schools that we know today. And that's why Georgetown was like, oh shoot, we got to pay reparations to Black people. So if you can prove that you are a descendant of someone we owned, then you can and you have to get the grades and all the things, then you can have a reduced price to come to this school. So there's pockets of reparations, right? Asheville in North Carolina is doing some creative stuff. So my point is, it's not only 1865, the first Reconstruction. We're talking about 1965, the second Reconstruction, and of restrictive housing covenants. We're not going to sell to Jewish folks, Black folks, Latinx folks, was not taken away until 1968, right? And then you have the COINTELPRO like killing Black folks like Fred Hampton in
Right.
69 and then through the 70s.
Right.
And then you have the crack epidemic, which
Yes.
arguably the federal government was throwing crack into certain brown and Black neighborhoods, or not so arguably, right? Right. And and then and then in the 90s, unfortunately, you have folks like Joe Biden and some other and Bill Clinton and a
Yeah.
lot of Republicans, Bob Dole and whatever, saying 94 Crime Act, right?
Yeah.
Put Black folks in prison, and 96 Welfare Act. All these Black and brown mothers are just sucking off the taint of the system and all this type of thing. So we're not talking about 1865. We're talking about 1968.
Let's even talk about after the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
After that whole situation, when they decided that they were going to help these poor people,
Yeah.
who had children and who had families, and say, yeah, you need a place to stay. We're gonna give you a nice spot. Here you go, honey. Oh, your husband? Oh no, he can't come now, honey. No. No. If you have a husband, you have a man in your house.
Right.
You don't need help from us.
Right.
Nobody talks about that. That has to be the most disgusting thing in the whole wide world, because government broke up families.
Yeah.
They had families make a choice. Honey, I don't have money to take care of you or the kids, so you're gonna have to go over here and live in the government housing. I can't come. So where am I going? So then you break families up and then be like, but Black men don't take care of their kids.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy that
that's one of the things that drives me crazy, because I don't think, because it's not a conversation that is had enough. I think I would say something a little bit controversial is with this. I think I think integration hurt Black people
Sure.
more than it helped.
Interesting.
And nobody's going to say that because, oh my God, like, I know that's controversial. I know that that sounds like, I am advocating for for segregation. I am not. What I am saying is before
Yeah.
there was integration, Black folks had restaurants, they had hotels, they had all these things that were because they had to service Black people, right? Black people couldn't go into these other places because they were Black, right? So they couldn't go. But when they were able to, like, all those businesses went away,
Yep.
right? And then those neighborhoods kind of, became more depressed because all the jobs were going out of them, and like this whole thing. And so, and then again with the whole family situation, right? It totally broke up families.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Well, yeah, no, 100%. And you have white flights,
yes,
but at the same time, you have middle class Black flight from what used to be segregated neighborhoods, because
yep,
then now if you can get out, you would get
yep,
out.
yep.
And then
They stopped spending with Black businesses because they were able to go and patronize white
right.
businesses, and that put a lot of businesses out of business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, that whole thing was, it was supposed to be an opportunity for Black people to, I guess, get to the next level, but a lot of that, it didn't help a lot of people.
Right.
Some people, got out and were able to really gain from that, but the majority, I think, were not.
Right. And it concentrated the poverty. Like it made Black, what used to be Black mixed class
Yeah,
neighborhood,
yeah,
mono
yep,
class.
yep, yep. And then the government again, they started once middle class Black folks started moving out, right? It it left all of the poor people in those neighborhoods without jobs.
Yeah.
And then the
Yeah.
government went in, started building up projects and all those other things. And again, taking away the power structure in the family, which is the Black dad. And there
Right.
you go. Voila.
Which,
Magic.
yeah. Which is and then we'll move on to the second thing, but I was watching I was watching Stanley Tucci has this really interesting it's like a kind of like an Anthony Bourdain travel to Italy and taste all the different food, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And Stanley Tucci uh was talking, I think it was, God, was it in Naples, or I think it was Naples, and they were talking about how in the 60s they built these projects
Mm-hmm.
for poor Italians, and they moved them all from this part of the city, and they moved them to Scampi. I think it's called the Scampi project.
Mm-hmm.
And they're really beautiful and futuristic and very modern for the time, but it concentrated poverty because they didn't have good transportation from these new projects to
Right.
the city where the jobs were. So
Right.
people were just like, what are we supposed to do for food, for
Yep.
work? And then people get creative when they have to. And so then just like local gangs started coming out, and like they started organizing themselves. And so, yeah, I think it's very interesting when certain wealthier communities are like, why do they have gangs over there? Like, why don't they just do the right thing? But human nature is human nature. Like,
Yeah.
if you are pushed to your brink, you got to survive, and so
Yeah.
you start creating your own little governments, and unfortunately
And
people.
that's exactly what that is.
Right.
That's exactly what that is, a local government.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Somebody has to house, somebody has to police, somebody has to,
Yeah.
Very interesting. Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, we'll move on. Let's move on. Let's swim.
Like
we spent, oh yeah, we didn't say that this was the Black History Month edition of
Right.
Politics Reimagined.
That's
Okay.
right.
So our next thing is Black History Month.
Yes,
Let's
yes.
talk about Black History Month and the 5 Black people that the school systems and white folks teach Black children about every year from February 1st to February 28th slash 29th. No, is it? Oh
Yeah,
no, yeah, 28th,
yeah.
29th. All right, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about what's his name? Uh,
Carter G. Woodson.
no. Who?
Carter, that's the guy who made it. Carter G. Woodson.
Oh no, we don't talk about him.
Yeah, we don't talk about
Let's talk
him.
about him. Let's talk about let's talk about the peanut guy, George Washington Carver.
George Washington Carver. Okay, I'm gonna let.
No, I am joking.
You don't want to do the. You don't want to do the peanut guy. Okay.
No, because listen. So here's the thing. It's so funny. I wanted one of my friend Monique to come on. She's a therapist, and I said you should really come on. So we can talk about this whole Black History thing.
Yeah.
And she was like, you know what? She takes her children out of school in February.
Oh.
She said she has a I think like an 8 and 9 or 7 to 8-year-old. She takes them out of school in February because she does not want them to teach her children about Black history.
All the BS.
Because she says, our children, she says in kindergarten, they learned that Black people were slaves. And she was like, what the hell? Like imagine, right?
Yeah.
And I was saying, yeah, because Black people didn't exist before 1619.
Right.
Like we didn't like if you're talking about Black history and the history of Black folks, right? The history of Black people in this country and in the school system starts in 1619. It starts with those slave ships. It starts with white people going to pick up these people and bringing them over here, and they become slaves. So it's just like what was. And I actually saw that I'm in a group on Facebook, and there was this thing, a timeline about Black people that started at 1619 and go, and he says, this guy says, well, what were we before 1619?
Yeah.
And you should. It's crazy though, because the mind of some people is a lot of work that needs to be done. I will just say this. They literally, a lot of people literally attacked this man because I don't think that they understood where he was coming from and like what he was saying. And so it was just like they took it so wrong. And I was just like, but herein lies the problem, because they don't see us before 1619.
Right.
And if you don't see us before 1619, then we were born into slavery.
Right.
And that's it. Like that's who we are, right? Not we don't talk about during Black history, we don't talk about the rich culture that is Africa. We don't talk about that at all. Like nobody says, oh, Black History Month. So in Ghana, in Nigeria, and they don't, it doesn't happen. It literally starts, Christopher Columbus, the whole, those whole, and it's just like, that's what I was saying. I think we were talking the other day, and I was saying, identity. Like if you see yourself, if this is how you see yourself, if this is how you see your ancestors, right? Your ancestors were slaves. Full stop. How the hell do you grow up and be like, man, I'm so proud of my people?
Right.
You can't. Yeah. And so unfortunately, it's a lot of Black kids that's running around here like that. Yeah. Because they don't. Nobody's teaching them. If your family is not teaching you,
right?
If you're not researching it, you don't know. Yeah. So the beginning of the Black life is in slavery.
Yeah.
How do you feel good about that?
Right.
How do you feel good about, you see all these things that is America, and like no, and Black people don't get credit for anything,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And so, like, how do you feel good about who you are if you haven't accomplished anything? If
Right. Right.
nothing here belongs to you, if
Right.
you didn't create anything, if you didn't engineer anything, if you didn't build anything, if you know, like, how do you feel good about being who you are? How
Yeah.
do you feel good
No.
about your skin?
No.
And so, like, that's a huge problem again, and it's another thing that it's almost like people don't even think about that. They don't even think about the just the mental of a young Black kid.
Right. 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 No, I mean, I was in high school in history, and I remember a lot of people just were like, "Oh, yeah, Jewish history is just like that's the Holocaust." And if I didn't grow up in a Jewish home where my dad knew about Jewish history, like, oh,
Right.
that was like 12 years of really, really bad shit in Europe.
Right.
But that's not all of us. Like,
Right. Right.
was all this shit before in Europe, like for 2,000 years, that like we were contributing to society in Europe, and like there were
Right.
like Jews in like Baghdad and like Persia, there were like Jews in Brazil,
Right.
like there's a whole history, and like great scholars, Rashi and Maimonides in Egypt, and like all this other stuff. So I, I if yeah, if you're a young kid and you're like, yeah, my people are just like this huge tragedy of slavery.
Right.
How am I supposed to be proud of that? Right,
Right.
right. No, and but see, then that's where people like Carter G. Woodson come in, who in 1926, you know, petitioned the government to create a, which is a feat in itself, especially in 1926, to make Black History Week. And it was going to be Black History Week because it was Abraham Lincoln's birthday and Frederick Douglass' birthday. And, you know, it's like, well, let's celebrate these two people who are liberatory of Black folks. And it later then became turned into a Black History Month, right? Uh, and Carter G. Woodson was a writer and a thinker and basically like a philosopher, and he wrote The Miseducation of the Negro. And he said exactly what you're saying. If you go to school and they're teaching you all these like European white
Yeah.
things, and you see yourself through the white eyes, the white gaze, then you have a very bad identity development as a Black person in
Yes.
this country. And you think you are nothing but low on the.
You're inferior. You're inferior. Like, how can you be anything else? Like, your people didn't contribute to anything.
Right,
You know, hundreds of years. You know,
right, right. No,
even to this day, we still have first this and first that. Like, it's like, really,
yeah,
really,
yeah.
this is where we are.
The World Trade Organization just had the first Black woman, and she's I think she's Nigerian, I think, the World Trade Organization, and she's like, she might be Ghanaian actually. She's like, I don't want it to be such a big deal that I am the first Black woman who's like the World Trade Organization person. And I hope
Right.
afterwards, like, this is not going to be such a big deal.
Right.
But
Which is which is what always happens, right? Where you always like, man, like, okay,
yeah,
first done, we're over. But it's like it's 2021. It's like that's ridiculous.
yeah, no. But so Carter G. Woodson creates the. Oh, okay. So Carter G. Woodson works with Marcus Garvey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's Nigerian. Her name is Nosi Okonjo
Yeah.
Iweala. Yeah, she's Nigerian. World Trade Organization director, first Black woman. So he works with Marcus Garvey, who, like, in the 20s, is being so radical. Actually, he's being so logical. Let me put it that way. He's being so logical that America kicks him out.
Mm-hmm.
They kick him out of America, and they're basically like, okay, go back to Jamaica.
Go back to Jamaica.
Yeah, super
Get
messed
out
up.
of here.
Super messed up. Which I don't know that history, but I understand that. Well, they said he like did some mail fraud, which there was another famous person they said they did mail fraud and they locked him up, also a Black woman. But so they kick him out, and Marcus Garvey is saying that all these Black folks in this country are descendants of kings and queens from West Africa. And that is very, very like shocking to a lot of white people. It's like kings and queens. And he declares himself the king of Africa. I don't know how that happened, but he's like, I am going to change how Black folks think about themselves. Right. And I think the Rastafari movement in Jamaica, is partly gets energized because Marcus Garvey then goes to Jamaica and starts preaching his kind of Black pride, notions. But the teens and the 20s for Black folks in this country was the Red Summer of 1919. A lot of massacres of Black people, and just terror, like terrorism, like domestic terrorism, white terrorism, and yeah, I don't know. Black History Month is. I mean, what do you think of Black History Month? It's beautiful, but it's also like it's hard. It's tragic.
It's very commercialized. Again, it's 5 Black votes.
Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, talk about
Harriet Tubman. It just recently Malcolm X, because like I believe when I was in school, Malcolm X was still too radical.
Yeah, you
know. So it's like it wasn't. We were not even learning about him, and it's all from this this scope of like Negroes are real peace loving people. Like we go through things, but that's okay. We forgive everybody. We so it's the that's the lens that they cleanse black folks that they introduce to our children in Black History Month. So they don't talk about the radicalism of Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, or I told you about the about what I read. Hold on, let me wait. Hold on, I gotta pull it up. Hold on.
Hey, no, do it.
Like I was reading about Harriet Tubman a couple of days ago, and it is a passage that said she never advocated violence against whites. And I said, how preposterous is that? This woman was born into slavery. Her mother and her father were slaves. Her siblings were slaves. They sold her siblings, 3 of her siblings, I believe. And it was so here's the thing. So before they got to this, they were like, she was that I believe something had happened to her, like they had hit her in the head with a rock, and
it was like a wrench. Her one of the slave owners threw a wrench at her and hit her in the head.
No. It did. She did have something similar. Did happen
because that's the thing that allowed her to have these kind of visions.
The vision, but no. This is no. The vision thing came from a rock. They or some kind of something. And one of the it wasn't the it was one of the handlers, one of the white men in the field. Someone was running away, and he threw it to hit the person and hit her in the head. Yeesh. And they left her like outside for like days thinking that she was dying basically. And then when she didn't die, like then she went to her mom, and her mom like basically nursed her back into health. And then um she um she was saying, so they were talking about selling her. She knew they were thinking about like splitting them up. And so she was saying she would pray to God every night, like, Lord, please change Master's mind about splitting us up. And then she said, as it got to a point where she realized, okay, they had found somebody that they were going to sell her to. And so she said, well, if he's not going to change his mind, then I want him to die. It was like within a week he died.
Yeah.
Right. So and then so this what I'm reading is saying, oh, how she felt bad about this, like, this whole thing. And then, then obviously after that she left. That's when she ran
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And they were saying so she never advocated violence against whites. And I'm just like, that's just ridiculous bullshit. Like, listen, today, if somebody does something to my family,
Yeah.
today, I don't
Yeah.
care what color they are.
Right.
Today, if somebody does something to my family, like, I don't want them to have a good day.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
And so to know that somebody was born into slavery, somebody was born into this life, dealt with the abuses of it, saw her family separated, like experienced all of this stuff where she was beaten. She was beaten multiple times for different things that she did. She said, when she was like 6 or 7 years old, she was watching the neighbor's baby, and her job was to make sure the baby didn't wake up. And if the baby woke up, the baby cried, they would whip her. Yeah. So you cannot tell me that somebody who experiences something like that would have any goodwill toward people who are doing this to her. You're not going to give these people grace. You're not extending grace to them, And so, but again, is the narrative that is put out there, about these 5 black people, because again, they don't talk about it's the same thing we talked about the book of Exodus. It's the same thing. It's almost like the biggest fear is that black people will just get mad one day and tear shit up. And it's just like, so the let's put this through a lens of, they want their freedom, however they're okay. They're very calm and easygoing about getting their freedom. And it's just like, it's so stupid,
Well, since Birth of a Nation, right, in 1915, there's always this fear, this white fear that Black people are going to seek revenge.
Right. And nobody wants that. Like, listen, I don't have time for this, okay? I don't want revenge. I just want you to run my money and be fair. Like, ultimately, like real life, Black people just want fairness. You just want fair. I just it was another thing. I meant to send that to you, and I'll look for it. But it was a Black family was selling their house, and and they had their white friend where they come in and appraise the house.
Yeah.
Huge difference. Huge difference. And it's just like, it's stuff like that where it's just like, come on, give me a break, man. Like, come on. It's like, if hearing that story does not make every person who hears the story feel some type of way, you got a problem on the inside. And those are the things that I'm talking about. It's those very simple things that should enrage everybody. Like, you should look at that and be like, that is disgusting, The little 10-year-old girl that got handcuffed, You know,
Yeah.
I was on boards, like really watching grown white people say she should have listened to the cops. And I'm just like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. She's 10 years old. You know what I'm saying? But it's just like it's, you know, yeah, yeah. Go.
When white folks are so, and a bunch of other, like not only white folks, like you got black folks that are scared of black folks, right?
Mhm.
I mean, because media has done such a number in this country that you have certain black and brown folks and Asian folks that clutch their purse or whatever when a black man is walking down the street. And so media has got us hating each other and fearing each other and solidifying a caste system, right? Isabel
Yeah,
Wilkerson talks about the pyramid and the caste system and who's at the top and who's in the middle and who's on the bottom. And Bonilla Silva puts it out. Eduardo Bonilla Silva, 2006, has this article saying you got at the top whites who, you know who that is, all these European nations that over time ascended to whiteness or congealed into whiteness. And then you have something in the middle called honorary whiteness, or
hmm,
honorary whites. So the Japanese folks, Korean folks, uh, some could argue even Nigerian, immigrant folks who
yeah,
can sometimes, you know, now when the cop pulls you over, they don't care whether you're Nigerian or whether
yeah,
your family's been here forever. So that's a whole nother thing.
yeah.
But
But
but you got
there is a difference. So there is a difference socially.
you're correct.
Yeah,
And then you got light skinned Latinx folks
yeah.
who can pass. Um, and then you have collective black folk, or
Ted,
collective blacks is what he
Ted
calls
Cruz.
Yeah, Ted Cruz is going to be in the honorary whites, right?
Right.
Correct. And then you got this collective blacks, which is interesting because it's not only folks with phenotypic, darker complexion, but you got Laotian folks, you got Cambodian folks, you have Filipino folks, so Southeast Asian folks who are, um, because of a lot of different circumstances, which are beyond them, they are relegated to a lower socioeconomic status, and so they are put in this collective black uh, 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 demarcation. And what's even more mind-blowing is you have on the 2000 census some poor white folks checking the box for identifying as black because in their mind black has become a socioeconomic status.
Right.
And that's, I mean, that is so messed up, but it's also so honest because it's like that's how our country's built, right? It's this every all these a lot of white folks want to be black and they want everything but the struggle, right? They don't really want to be black, but
Every last thing.
right.
Every last thing, but
They want to look cool, they want to see what's on their TV screen or on their phone, right? So they want to be a hip hop artist or a basketball player or all these things that black folks have been relegated into doing because they were barred from doing other stuff,
right.
right? They couldn't do other stuff, and so it's just this very strange feedback loop of now you have we promised each other we weren't going to talk about it, but you have folks like Kim Kardashian that are
Oh God.
that are accentuating their lips, that are enlarging breasts and buttocks and things like that because and darkening skin because they want to look more
And
like,
having babies by black men. Oh.
and right and correct right, because they guess they feel it's going to give them a certain cachet in society,
Yeah.
but
Well,
and she did get Alice Johnson and some other people out of jail, so I do,
oh, like
you know
seriously, we can't give her. I mean, like, fine, she did, but like seriously, when you talk about her, like all of the things that, like, come on, man, like I just no,
I
just
know.
no, just absolutely not. Donald Trump saw her video. He saw her and Ray J. He was like, man, oh, no, that's wrong. I don't care. Um, um. Listen, I give no grace to those people. Because I think they are at the forefront of what we see today with all of these young women who all look alike, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
They all look alike. Like I'm talking about um I was on me and my sister, we were looking on I can't even call the name of it. It's a clothing website,
Mm.
and I was like, it's like 10 different women,
All
and
looking.
like they all look the same. I mean, you could literally see the surgery on their bodies, like the enhanced butts that are too big for their legs. um can we talk about that for a minute? Okay, let me stop.
Let's no. So actually, let's go there for a minute. So, in your like opinion, why are all these? I'm not even going to just talk about white folks, but all these non-black folks wanting to appear like black folks, wanting to.
Listen, let me say this. When I was I'm a black woman all day long, okay? I got a big butt. It's natural. It's there when I was 125 pounds. It was like, it was poking out there like, what the hell is that? That's pretty big for your little body. So so it's always been there. But I remember um when I was younger and like being around girls of other races,
Yeah.
and they would be like, "Oh my God, your butt is big." And it
Hmm.
was like a negative thing, like, like your butt is big, it's so big. And then even if you go back and you look at TV, you watch, older shows from the 80s and the 90s, whatever, and they talk about big butts
Yeah.
and boobs, like it's, oh my God,
Yeah.
your butt is big. It's just like, my butt is big.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Right. um and so that was a negative, like all my life, all of my youth, basically.
Hmm.
And then I think it started with like J-Lo. It
Interesting.
was like J-Lo, oh my God, look, her booty is kind of. And
Hmm.
then it became a thing, like, oh, okay, maybe it's not so bad to have a big booty. And then um and then and then I think that was around the time of like the video vixens,
Uh,
right? You had a whole bunch of black girls in these videos, and like booties was everywhere. You know what I mean? They started making remember Thong Song and Rump
yeah.
Shaker and all these, and you started, and like it,
Babies got back.
yeah, there it is. And the focus was on butts, right? And I mean, big butts look nice, they just do. I'm just saying. Big butts look nice.
Sure.
Here's the problem though. Here's the problem. Let me just say this. So that's where I think it came from. I think
Yeah.
basically it came from media, it came from
Yep.
TV, it came from
Yep.
people, the same thing with boobs,
Yeah.
like Pamela Anderson and all of them. They just, started talking about it, and you know how it is. Once men are attracted to it,
Right.
right? Once the general population of men are attracted to it, then it's like, hey,
Yeah.
But the sad part about this, and I don't know, and see, this is why I didn't want to go here with the whole Kim Kardashian, because I know we would go down the damn rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But the thing that trips me out is even black women are getting the fake butts now too, right?
Oh wow.
You're starting to see black women um
Hmm.
get these fake butts, and it's gross.
Hmm.
Um, I'm
Hmm.
here to tell you, ladies, that your butt is supposed to match your thighs. Your butts are not matching your thighs, okay? Like, I need you to get some fat transfers, do something, because that's not the business. It just looks weird. It all looks weird. Is a couple of what's her name? Kenya Moore.
Hmm.
You know who Kenya Moore is?
I
Miss
heard.
America, Miss USA,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
something. She's on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Beautiful, dark
Uh,
skinned Black woman,
yeah.
gorgeous, great body.
Hmm.
And just recently she got the booty. The
No.
mind you, she had a nice butt, right? She, wasn't like, wasn't major curvature, but she had a nice body. Now, so she went and got this fake butt, and now it looks like she has on a Depends. Her
Oh,
butt looks disgusting. Her body looks disgusting now because
picture. Yeah. Whoa.
you see it? It's
Yeah.
gross.
Yeah. That's a
It's
shame.
so gross. And she's so pretty. And it's just like, why did you do that? But I think that like it's just the pressure of it all,
Yep.
of everything that's going on. Like these women are feeling pressured to do it
Yep.
for whatever reason. But it's like all of you guys look alike, all of your butts look alike, all of
Yeah.
your body types look alike. It's there's no
Thanks.
there's nothing special about you because you look like the girl sitting next to you. Like it's yeah. Anyway, that's my
Yeah.
whole thought on it. I hate it. I think it's horrible. I think it's a bad example for younger women. And um what are you looking at? Because your face is like
I'm looking at these before and after pictures, and I'm just like,
of Kenya Moore.
hmm.
Yeah, it's horrible, right?
I
It's
mean,
like
I, as a man, I shouldn't comment on these things because it's like 'cause women are just put through all this BS, and they're like, because it's through the male gaze, right? It's like be like this or don't be like this, or you're too skinny, you're too fat, and I don't want to like feed into that, but
well,
I
I
think
will I will do it for you. It
okay,
looks horrible. I'll do it for you. It does not look good.
yeah,
That's one thing about and it goes again to what I'm saying about the what they show younger women,
yeah,
younger girls. Is
right,
is since I've been in Georgia, I've gained weight.
mm,
I don't like it, obviously,
mhm,
but um I know that it's up to me to lose the weight. I'll get it. I'll get it. But I'm not going to get surgery. There's nothing that anybody can say to me that will make me go and do that to myself. Like seriously, it's just like and that's just all of just being happy in your skin. You know,
right,
I'm happy in my skin, bro. Like
and
there's
and
nothing that can make me do that all that weird shit.
and that's the kind of thing that makes me sad or just cringe because it it's all about a business and it's all about making money.
Yeah,
Because if you turn on the TV, it's all this stuff of you're not good enough. You need to
yeah,
buy this to make you look
yeah,
better.
yeah,
And Kenya Moore is famous. She's making
yeah,
money. She's doing her thing. She has a kid. She has a partner. She's living a life. And but the American dream is like turned in, maybe it's always been turned into this nightmare of like it's never enough. You got to
yeah,
get the bigger butt. You got to get the bigger, boobs. You got to get the bigger wallet. You got to get the bigger house, and it never stops. And
yeah.
that's kind of like capitalism is like it,
You
it,
don't
it-
stop to enjoy what you have, and that's the problem. They're not stopping to enjoy what they have.
they don't
And
stop exactly, and you can't stop because that's how the system works. And it's like capitalism will have all these nice, quote unquote nice Christian folks being like, I go to church on Sunday, I do my thing, but I need to have a bigger plantation, so I need to get more enslaved folks. I got to
right,
own people. I
right,
still believe in the Bible, but I'm gonna tear out the Exodus chapter because I don't want my folks that I own to read the
right.
Exodus chapter. And so this and it's again, capitalism. I think maybe hopefully can be tweaked and uh, maybe we'll change to something else later down the road. I don't know, but ca-
Speaking, can we? Let's speak about capitalism.
Let's speak on it. Okay, look.
Let me just say this really fast.
Say
I want to blast Amazon today.
okay.
So here's the thing. I like I am not gonna I'm not gonna run away from this. I'm not gonna shy away. Um I I love Amazon. I love them. Um I have about 6 boxes in my room right now. About 6 Amazon boxes. But, I've just recently come to the conclusion that I have to stop.
Yeah.
I just read this story about a young woman who in her plant they gave her the job of testing people for COVID.
Mm. Mm.
She has no medical background.
Lord.
They didn't give her the proper stuff that she needed, right? So she's testing people. People are coming into the office. They're throwing up in
Yeesh.
the office. They're coughing, spitting, all this other stuff, right?
God.
Well, she's no longer with us.
Oh shit.
She died.
Oh shit.
And
Oh,
she
wow.
missed work because she died.
Yeah.
Okay. For 2 days, and they called her sister and was like, where's she at?
Yeah.
And her sister said, she died. And the lady said, oh, well, my condolences. We'll put her check in the mail.
Oh, what the damn. That's cold. Wow.
And so I'm like, Amazon is worth what, $1.7 trillion or
Shit.
give or take
Yeah.
a penny or two. Remember I said I don't have a problem with capitalism if it's humane.
Yeah.
And we're past that now.
But yeah, because that's the thing. People, because I grew up thinking like, well, capitalism is like really effed up, but like maybe it can be saved. But it seems like it's predicated on human greed.
Yes.
That just
Right.
takes in whatever it needs to, whether it be
Yeah.
trees, gasoline, human bodies. It has no end because capitalism in itself on paper seems nice, but capitalism is like human greed just projected onto society. And I was joking with my friend, Adam Smith's whole thing about the invisible hand is going to guide the market because everyone's free to do whatever they want. The invisible hand is actually just the invisible hand of greed because people are just going to take advantage of the market. They're going to take advantage of each other. If there's no types of regulations, and I don't know, democratic socialism sounds good. They're doing some of it in Sweden, Norway, Denmark, and Germany. There's other places that do it better than us. And I think if we're supposed to be the smartest place on earth, then we should pick and choose from these different places, and we can turn down the volume on capitalism and turn up some of the volume on socialism, just so that we can have better healthcare, or that we can have better schools, or that we can just live longer. But it seems like the kind of the top 1% wants to, I don't know, live longer and get all the tummy tucks and the butts and the boobs and at the expense of other people, and it's not good for humans in the long run or the environment.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, I have a business. I eventually want to be worth $1.7 trillion.
There you go. But that's going to come at the expense of. But I don't even think that you really do want that money, because.
No, I no. Hold on.
Okay. All right.
I listen to The Secret every day. I want that money. Okay. Listen. I want the money. Okay. Give me 107, give me $1.7 trillion. Yes, I want that responsibility. I will show you what to do with that type of money. Again, it's really pure greed. There's no other word for it, right?
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos can't spend all of that money in his lifetime. He can't spend that money in 10 lifetimes, right? And so the humane thing to do would be to make sure that the people who provide the services throughout your organization to get you to the point where you're making that type of money is taken care of.
Yeah.
I have an HR background, and I have seen it multiple times. You have an employee, and maybe they're lacking, right? Maybe they're lacking, and you have a meeting with them, and you realize they don't feel valued.
Yeah.
They don't feel like they're heard. They don't feel like they matter to the organization, right? That will kill the morale of a person. If the morale of a person is bad, they're not doing a good job. It has nothing to do with what they're capable of doing, right? It has to do with the way that they feel in that space that they're in. And so, I submit to the Jeff Bezos of the world. If you treated your people well, your people will work their asses off for you. They will work because they will feel a part of a team. They will feel a part of the organization, and it will matter to them. You see these people in Walmart, they don't give a shit about Walmart because Walmart doesn't pay them anything. They're not giving their best. They don't care. You know what I mean? And it's like even Amazon, Amazon has this whole customer service program where, you call Amazon and you pretty much can, they are very upfront, or they will take blame if something is wrong, and they will refund you. They will resend the stuff. They do that. They do that because that's the setup, right? And the thing about it is they don't problem solve. They don't problem solve at all. If you call them and say, I want to return this, they don't say, okay, let's talk about this. You understand? They don't give a shit. They're not invested in your company because you don't care about them. So they will refund, they will send replacements. It doesn't matter to them because they're there to just do this stupid job that they're getting paid minimum amounts of money for, and they don't care about your product. They don't care, so it's just the
Well, to bring some of that stuff full circle, Black folks built capital for America, right? They were the energy source to create the prosperity that is America today.
Right.
And the captains of industry that have benefited from this labor and ingenuity in other ways, not just labor, not, still won't pay back reparations to their workers, right? So if the capitalist system is a take, if I can get away with it system, then we are screwed, right? That doesn't bode well for the future. And speaking of Native American folks, if it was built on take your land, don't give you anything back, it's also better if we just kill you off in the process, because then we can take your land even more.
Right.
It's built on kind of a sick setup formula. So I think some people say the system is broken, but maybe it's just working
the way that
perfectly,
yeah,
the way that it's supposed to. Yeah.